step one of getting inside a Mobot. You'll see down here we have these little silver screws that go around. These silver screws actually hold in place the orange cover, and we need to remove that because that will expose the bump sensors. So I flip it over. I have my screwdriver here with a long extension. I need a long extension to really get in under here because it's quite a long way from where the wheels sit. So you'll see down here. So I'm going to pull out all of these silver screws. Yep, there's one. I'll grab that after. Two. Five. Six. Seven. Okay, there. All out. So just put your screws aside. Flip it over. Okay, now this orange cover here is going to come off. You may need to leverage it up like so. And you can see here we have now 4 of these sensors exposed. The next part of getting inside the Mobot, we have to remove this top plastic cover. To do so, we need to unlock the 4 bump sensors. I recommend getting a large screwdriver so you're not going to damage the sensors. And what you need to do is gently work them across like so. So just gently pushing them across, not digging into them, like so. There's 2 done. It looks kind of brutal, but it's not. Typical, there's always one that's going to be a problem. There we go. Just across. Like so, perfect. Okay, so they're across. Now you'll see under here, we've got the cutting height adjustment that has to come off as well. I don't really want to get eaten by any spiders today, so I'll just move that off. It's gone. Okay, so we need to work this up, and this can be a little bit tricky. I wouldn't recommend using pliers or anything like that because you don't want to damage the cutting height adjustment. It's coming, there we go, pops off. It's quite stuck on. All right, so I want to make sure that these are the outside. Just make sure that the rubber grommet is pushed below. There we go. All right, and voila, this opens up. Now we can see underneath here, but we're now going to take off the sensor here, this being your rain sensor. So now we're going to remove all the outer cover screws. And this is so we can expose the PCB board. So now we can lift the cover off. And this is not looking great at all, guys. Look at this. This has been fully drowned. It's waterlogged under here. All right, this PCB board is damaged. You can see I'll use my screwdriver tip to sort of point out. You'll see here there's burn marks here where the PCB board has shorted out. The battery's also toast. So this PCB board will definitely need replacing. Now, the trick, if you're not familiar with working on these, you can actually mark these with a texter, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. So that when you have to plug it back in, you kind of know the direction to follow and where they're going to plug in. That may help you. But once you've done it so many times, you kind of get an idea how it's done. So we're going to disconnect all the connectors off the PCB board. And look, the other big issue we've actually got water sitting in here. Like, this is not great. Like, this machine has literally been swimming, so my suspicions are it might end up being pretty much a full rebuild. Look at that. There's water. So I am going to take off this PCB board, which is quite easy, and it's the same process for any Mobot that needs the PCB board replaced. All right, I'm just going to change the torque to on my screwdriver. All right, so all those screws appear to be off, so you can slip this off, like so. That goes in the bin, it's obviously no good. So now we're going to replace our PCB board, which will really only take a few seconds. I have my screwdriver and I have my screws here ready. The long part here, this is where the connector will go back to the LCD panel. This faces the rear. It's a really important thing to remember, so you don't face this around the wrong way. Now, make sure your cables here, this one particularly goes on the outside of the connector for your screw here, and that this here can feed up underneath the PCB board as well. It makes it a lot easier, otherwise later on you'll get tangled when you're trying to reconnect everything back up. So what I like to do is try and touch the outsides, and I get these aligned the best that I can with the holes. Take your time, there's no rush. You don't want to damage your PCB board. And you'll find just like that, it starts to sit quite nicely. I have to use my fingers to start with, just put a screw. Once I get one screw in, I can then start connecting all the other screws. We're going to screw them down. I make sure that my torque is low if I am using an electric screwdriver. It is a slight breeze today, so I hope we're not getting too much sort of feedback across the microphone. Then these other screws here, again, I'll just place them by hand because they are not magnetic, and you don't want to accidentally drop them underneath the PCB board, because that can be a little bit painful to try and pull them out, or turn the unit upside down and try and find your lost screw. The good thing about the Mobot is they are not really difficult to work on. So the screws are here, this is nice and secure. I'm now going to connect the PCB board. There are names here if you get lost. So you see that says left motor, right motor. This one here would say blade motor. So you understand that this would be the cutting motor. And that makes it really helpful when reconnecting if you get a little bit lost. There should be text marks if you're new and you follow the advice I gave you earlier. So reconnect all of these up. There's a lot of animals today. It's a little bit annoying for you guys listening, so I am apologetic for that. And here we go. Everything is now reconnected. I'll need to replace the battery here because that's for the memory. And now we're pretty much good to go and reseal the unit and lock it down. And we're pretty much finished replacing a PCB board.